can you tell everyone here about your stovetop sequence? Well, tell us why you call it that, and then tell us about your stovetop sequence.
Yep. So like you mentioned, we're Italian, and anyone in the Italian culture knows that traditionally, your grandma might be at the stove cooking the Sunday sauce all day on Sunday. It's 12 hours on the stove. It smells delicious, and it's a slow kind of boil that's going on, a slow simmer. And to me, I feel like that's what happens in a lot of sales deals. Sometimes you get the 3%, they're ready to go. It's a quick sales cycle. Hallelujah. Sounds great. Most of the time, that's not what happens. What happens a lot is you get people that kind of have a pain point. They're interested, but the timing's off. And so what I want to do is I want to be the person that they think about when the timing is right. Whether I'm selling sales training like I do now, whether I was selling gong, whether I was selling Cutco knives in college, I want to be the person they think of when they have that need. So the stovetop sequence is simple. Everyone that I lose a deal with, even some past customers, people that the timing's off, anything like that, call me in 6 months, that type of thing. I put them into a sequence. Shout out, I do use Apollo, so shout out to that sponsor. But you could use whatever, sequence that you have at your company. And about every 3 or 4 weeks, I get in contact with them. Here's the thing. I never, almost never, 1% of the time, 99% of the time, I never make an ask. What I'm doing is I'm sending something that I think is thoughtful that can help them do their job better. So let's just pretend I'm selling to Leslie, and Leslie is a CFO at some company. And I might reach out to Leslie, once a month with an email, and hopefully I'm keeping up to date on the industry reports. I say, hey, Leslie, I just saw this really interesting, 8-page PDF that that Bloomberg put together about, things that CFOs should care about in the back half of 2024. Thought it was an interesting read. Hope it's helpful for you. End message. 3 or 4 weeks later, I might send her something else. Hey, was listening to the Financial Times podcast and thought this was like a really interesting rundown of, whatever. I don't even know financial terms, so I'm just kind of making this up on the spot. But every month, I'm sending her something. I might make a call. I might send a text if that feels appropriate. I might send a LinkedIn message. It might be an email. It might be a handwritten card. But what I want, and this happens all the time because I've been selling to sales leaders between Gong and now running my own company this is my 4th year now in that market, is that I've built up a lot of goodwill and a lot of trust by making a lot of deposits with people that I'll send them Sell Better shows. I'll send them John Barrows. I'll send them Salesforce reports, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden, not on the first one, sometimes the 3rd, sometimes the 7th, sometimes the 13th touch, they'll come back and say, Tom, you won't believe this, but our sales manager just left. We're in a bind for kicking off our sales SKO. We need some help with training. Our pipeline's down. And I go, you know what? I actually could believe it because that was my intent the whole time. And there's data that shows that I think 80% or roughly, I'd have to go back and double check, but a very high percent of people just go with the first option they think of. Whether it's they're buying a soda or they're buying software, they just go, oh, I'm thinking about this technology. I think of these people. I'm going to reach out to them. And that's what I want to be in my given market. So that's my stovetop sequence.